Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit Acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Oh, it's done. It's the Cam Show. It's Rogue Media Sports Network. Second show from the suburbs of Chicago. Mike Hamilton keeping us on the air today, filling in admirably for Zach, pinch hitting. It's gray again in the suburbs of Chicago, Mike. I don't know if you're shocked by that, but I love it. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is what it's supposed to look like this time of year. It makes you appreciate the sun rather than seeing the sun as your enemy. I can't hear you, by the way. I think you're muted. No. Yeah. I think your whole thing's muted. It's good input by Mike. Good. Good input there. On this Tuesday, where we're going to be talking a lot of Patriots again today. Some current Patriots, some now former Patriots, some potentially future again Patriots, if that makes any sense. I actually got asked about this last night. I was at a trivia event with some new people who saw that I was a Patriots fan and started asking me immediately about Jerod Mayo. And like, well, you ready to fire the coach? It's year one. Are you ready to fire the coach? And I was like, well, kind of. And again, it's year one. So how much can I really be like, oh, it's this guy's fault? And as I've said on the show many times, it's not only Jerod Mayo's fault. But where I get pissed every week is that it's the same mistakes every week that they're making. And so that to me does fall on the coach. Now, breaking news, a report on Tuesday morning from the Boston Sports Journal, that of course being Greg Bedard, saying that Jerod Mayo is coaching for his job. Quote, according to multiple sources, if Kraft comes to the realization that he made the wrong choice with Mayo, he wouldn't hesitate to rectify the situation, end quote. Now, of course, we don't know if rectify means, roster overhaul, new coaches in alongside him. But it most likely means, from the context of this quote, that if they made the wrong choice with Mayo, they would fire him after 1 year. And it probably wouldn't be the worst decision in the world. Again, it's 1 year with a horrible roster. And I don't think... I think this is on ownership more than it is the head coach, if we're being totally honest. Because it's like, you guys selected him. You guys selected him 5 years ago. You selected him knowing that he didn't play for nor coach under anybody else in the NFL but Bill Belichick. So why are you surprised when he doesn't have a Rolodex of contacts to go and bring in as his assistant coaches and his coordinators? Why are we surprised by that? Why would we be surprised then that he's bringing in guys who had never been position coaches in the NFL before, but used to play with him? Guys like Tyquan Underwood and Dante Hightower. Are they good coaches? I have no idea. But their resume was their resume. You're coming in, bringing them in as position coaches, and they've never coached in the NFL, nor maybe any other level of football before. It's like, to me, that is ownership. That's ownership not taking ownership, ironically enough. And if you fire him after this year and you bring in a dynamite young coach, then it becomes, oh, well, at least they did the right thing in the end. But as it stands right now, if they're looking to fire him after year one, this has been a colossal failure. No matter how good your quarterback looks, that's a major failure that you had the chance to get the right coach in place, knowing full effing well that you were going to draft a quarterback with the number 3 pick, and you decided to elevate a linebackers coach instead. And so I've been banging the Ben Johnson drum all season long. So is like half of the fan bases in the NFL. And whatever the 6 openings that are going to be, interviewing for jobs for their head coaching positions, the 6 openings that'll be out there, they all want Ben Johnson. But he was interviewing last year. And again, this baffles me every time I think about it. You knew you were going with an overhaul, a new franchise quarterback that you were going to pick in the top 3. And you didn't even interview anybody let alone an offensive guy. You didn't interview anybody. You just said, let's keep it in the family. The New England Patriots is an entry-level job. That's what you said. Head coach of the New England Patriots is an entry-level job. That is exactly what you said by elevating a linebackers coach in Jerod Mayo to be the head coach of your football team, to replace the greatest coach in the history of the sport. That's what they said with that move. They didn't come out and say it in the press conference, but that's what that relays to everyone else in your organization, in the league, and anyone that's a fan of the league now says, well, you're giving ammo to the people that would say, I guess the Patriots thing was just a fluke, a 20-year fluke, but they're just going to be like the 49ers, not going to win another one again, or the Cowboys, God forbid, and never even get close to one again. That's what it looks like with a move like that to the rest of the league. Do I feel for Jerod Mayo in some ways? Yes, I do. Because he comes in with no support in terms of, a GM who hadn't really done it before as the main honcho and really took care of that salary cap, and a roster that is a dumpster fire. But if you look at the offseason moves, talk about a colossal failure. In fact, the great Bill Simmons had a good tweet about this morning, because the Patriots have cut KJ Osborne. Another, pro guy who you tried to get on the cheap, didn't have anything left, clearly, and prove that to you week after week. This is what Bill Simmons says. If you take out picking Drake May at number 3, which was the most obvious pick possible, the Patriots' first offseason of draft picks and free agent signings without Belichick was legitimately an F-. Bad draft picks and super cheap discount spending. You get what you pay for. He is exactly right. Exactly right. Let's look at the offseason moves after releasing Bill Belichick and hiring Jerod Mayo. First move, signed Michael Jordan. Not great. Not great. Then signed Kawan Baker. Didn't even make the team. Matthew Slater retires. You put Kyle Duggar on a non-exclusive franchise tag and then end up signing him to a multi-year deal later in the offseason. He all of a sudden sucks. He's lost his ability this year. You sign Hunter Henry to a 3-year deal. That's fine. That's fine. Then you sign Chuks Okorafor. Gave up on football entirely after a couple of weeks with the Patriots. Then you re-signed Josh Uche to a 1-year contract. How did that work out? You traded him for nothing. Nothing. A 6th-round pick to Kansas City. He's probably going to win the friggin' Super Bowl this year with Tyquan Thornton. Then you signed KJ Osborne. Again, released before the end of the season. Outright released. Kendrick Bourne re-signed. That's fine. Agreed to terms with Calvin Anderson. Where's Calvin Anderson? Exactly. Signed Mitchell Wilcox. Don't even know if he made the final roster to start the year. 4-year contract extension with Christian Barmore. A good deal. We love Christian Barmore. Kind of a freak accident. Hasn't been able to play much this year. Signed kicker Joey Sly, who does have the Patriots franchise record for longest kicks. He also missed a field goal from 26 yards a few weeks ago. That would have been the difference between a win and a loss. We can, I guess, thank you for that later. Javon Baker, another guy. Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, the 2 receivers that you draft. One can't find the field, and one I wish couldn't find the field. So that's a miss. Layden Robinson, again, not doing much. You waived Andrew Stuber. Could have used another offensive lineman. Ramondre Stevenson, 4-year deal worth $9 million annually. Wonder how that has worked out. Signed Alonzo Highsmith. Signed Jabril Peppers, who did a night in prison during this season for the Patriots. Released Juju Smith-Schuster because that was an awful deal from the year before, which was Belichick, not Wolf. I'll give them that. But it's just list after list after list of these just bad signings that you tried to get for cheap. A pretty bad draft class outside of Drake May when you look at it year one. They did not draft another real starter on this team. Jalen Polk would be the only other one, and he's the biggest liability out there in the wide receiver room. So they drafted nothing. They signed nothing. They gave up guys for nothing. Luckily, what Belichick did on the way out is that's how we're going to look at it now, is they have more cap space than anyone in the league this offseason and maybe next offseason as well. So you have got money just burning a hole in your pocket, just pissing money that you can throw at these guys. And that's where T. Higgins comes into all of this, because now there are reports that the Patriots are willing to throw the bag at T. Higgins, the number 2 receiver, disgruntled receiver in Cincinnati, a guy who's never been the number 1 receiver. And he's having a pretty pedestrian year. 45 catches, 581 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's the guy you want to throw the bag at, just like you were going to do with Brandon Ayuk, a guy who had never made a Pro Bowl, by the way. And, you watched it last night on national TV. T. Higgins, Monday Night Football, 2 catches on 5 targets, 2 catches for 23 yards. That's the guy you're going to throw the bag at. We've seen this story before around the NFL. We see it every other year or so. That number 2 receiver in a great offense with a great quarterback goes out and gets his, and he's going to be the number 1 guy, and he just never turns into the number 1 guy. I'll even give you a couple recent examples for the Patriots. Nelson Aguilar. How did that work out? Devontae Parker. Before Tyreek Hill got to Miami, Devontae Parker was their number 1 guy. How did that work out? Just be wary. T. Higgins is better than anything they've got in the receiver room right now. So that is essentially where we're starting at. But just be wary. These guys don't normally come in and just suddenly become number 1 receivers. Okay, those guys get money from the beginning, and they don't slip in the draft typically. So it's one of those where it's like buyer beware, man. But then again, I would take T. Higgins over any receiver they would draft. Anyone. Because they don't draft that position at all. The one hit they have had at that position in the last 15 years is Julian Edelman, a quarterback they drafted in the 7th round from the MAC. That's the only impact receiver they've drafted in 15 years. The only other pass catchers have been tight ends. And one of them killed a guy. At least one. So it's not like they have had an illustrious history of the last 20 years drafting pass catchers. So yeah, I will take T. Higgins over anyone they are looking to draft in any round. And I like the McMillan kid, Ted McMillan, who I've seen a lot of in the last, 2 years, watching the late Pac-12 and now in the Big 12. I like Ted McMillan, but I'm not willing to take that risk. They don't draft at that position. The rest of the guys they got at the last 15 years were bargain bin or on their last leg or both. Danny Amendola, they had a nice contract for. Chris Hogan, they picked up off waivers. Danny Woodhead, pass catching back, picked him up off the street. It's just a position they do not draft well, which now I look at that top 5 pick, probably going to be 3 or 4. And they do have the toughest strength of schedule to close out the season because they still got Buffalo twice. So that doesn't help them in terms of the tiebreakers, but I'm not looking receiver there. Now, if they stick in that number 3 pick, which they're at right now, which could be tough to do, but if they stick at that number 3 pick, then you've got an option because the top 2 teams, as they do every year, and as they look at this year with the Giants and the other one that really sucks, the Raiders, they're going to be looking at quarterback. The Patriots are in a good luxury to be picking in the top 5 and not needing a quarterback. I don't want to stray away from offensive tackle too much. And this is, this talk is going to be really heating up over the next couple of weeks. I don't want to stray away from left tackle too much. I don't want to, even though it's not a great offensive tackle draft or offensive line draft, I don't necessarily want to miss that opportunity to get the best tackle in the draft. That said, if you're picking number 3, it's going to be awfully tough to not pick Travis Hunter. Awfully tough. He'll be far and away the best player left on the board. He might be the best player on the board going into the draft, but the other 2 need quarterback. And he's not going to play both ways in the NFL, but he can play a little receiver for you. He's not going to be playing both ways as much as he did in college, obviously. But he can play a little bit of receiver for you. And then you got 2 gadget receivers out there, and that's better than what you've got right now with Marcus Jones and Travis Hunter. And you just got 2 corners that can play receiver as well on gadget plays. Because cornerback is a position of need. Like I said, everything outside of quarterback is a position of need for the Patriots. And if you have Travis Hunter and Christian Gonzalez, one on each side of the field, you're going to be really tough to beat through the air. Like really tough. And then Marcus Jones can replace the Jonathan Jones role of being just a nickel corner who can play a little bit more physical, doesn't need to be the biggest guy in the world, which he's not. That's a scary proposition. And there will be some tackles out there that we'll look at on this show in the next couple of months. There will be some tackles out there. And they're going to cost a pretty premium, but you've got the money. You can have potentially 2 generational talents at corner, one of which can play a little bit of receiver. I wouldn't mind at all going after Travis Hunter. Now, of course, you'll have to deal with Dion saying that he won't play in the cold weather. And that's a headache in and of itself. But the dude is a dog, an absolute dog. That has never been questioned. Whether he wins the Heisman or not, he is probably the best player in college football and was the number 1 recruit out of high school and is projecting to be probably the best player in the draft come NFL time. So if I see the Patriots picking at 3, I think I'm enough of a sucker to be willing to say, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Best player in the draft. You need to overhaul every position room except quarterback. Overhaul it. Not just add a guy here or there. You need to overhaul it. So at that point, why not just pick the best guy available? Just my 2 cents on it. Anyway. Yeah. Let's talk about Drake May a little bit because the world is coming to Drake May's side here. And the world might be abandoning another top 3 quarterback pick from last year's draft. We'll talk about that next on the Cam Show.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to
Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Download Blogify now in the App Store. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com.
Welcome to a special edition of the Doomsday Podcast. Look at this. We got one of the great golfers in the world, certainly one of the great pass rushers in NFL history.
But he also had a vision for you. And so it was like you had the best of both worlds, right? You had somebody on you early, and then you had somebody who was maybe
more relaxed. What were a couple of your biggest takeaways? The person you referred to that I spoke with, I've spoken to some personnel people and general managers of the league to get some, independent, objective assessments of the players the Cowboys picked, and we'll go through that. Has the general manager changed at all in the draft room?
Nope, it's been the same since I was here the last time.
Boy, how about those commercial breaks, huh? I wouldn't turn away from that. I like Small Rig, too. It's really giving, a good name to those of us who don't have the big rig. You know what I'm saying? Also, Mike, do you agree with me? I brought this up with Zach yesterday. And that DeMarcus Ware commercial mostly sounds different.
He does sound a little different. Yeah. I'm echoing here.
Yeah, but I can hear you.
Okay, that's a good thing.
So
we've gotten somewhere.
That's better. Oh, boy. What a national tragedy it'll be if we can't hear Pete Souza next segment.
No, you'll be able to hear Pete Souza.
Oh, yeah. You never are not able to hear Pete Souza. Let's just say that. Peter M. Souza, which does bring me to you. Does he still bring in that briefcase, Mike? To the office?
Yeah, he got pissed off at me the other day because I hid it.
So Pete has this nice briefcase that I think he got for himself. He'll probably tell you that Christy got it for him, but I think he got it for himself. And it's got his name stitched into it, just Pete on the side. And it made me think of the old LL Bean backpacks, or really just like anything, like for adults, you could monogram it. And the LL Bean backpacks, it wasn't like a straight monogram. It was just your initials. And I was like, I wonder why Pete didn't do that. And I remember one time calling him Peter R. Souza and him correcting me and saying, no, it's Peter M. Souza. And I said, maybe he just didn't want to put PMS on his bag.
Well, the show is piss.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, piss.
All right, goodbye.
Bye, Mike. Which does remind me of the LL Bean backpacks, which were big in New England when I was growing up. I hope they still are, but I had one throughout my youth. They're great backpacks, like everything else LL Bean makes. We need to get them to sponsor the show, man. Now, I could talk good about LL Bean all day, but anyway, one of the names that I was going to be named was Austin, and it was going to be Austin Spencer Stewart. And my parents thought of what the LL Bean backpack initials would say. And so they said, let's go with Cam. Let's go with Cameron. And that's how we got here. Also, of course, Cameron Indoor Stadium for the Bulldozer. Anyway, we're talking about, speaking of Cameron Indoor and their biggest rival, North Carolina, which we will talk about even more in the next segment. Too much UNC talk. But how about UNC legend? Are you trying to tell me something, Mike? Are you trying to tell me that Pete's here? But it's not the third segment yet. Pete's not coming on yet. I don't want too much more of Pete than I can handle. Anyway, speaking of North Carolina, let's look back at the old North Carolina quarterback, and that would be Drake May. And it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder, because even after this bye week, where thank God I could just take a break from watching the Patriots for a week and not having to watch every snap of this god-awful football team. But even after the bye week, people are talking up Drake May even more in the national media. And I think part of that is because Caleb Williams' team is struggling as Joe Namath would say. They suck, actually. They suck. And I hear a lot about it around here now. They had a first half against San Francisco the other day, the Bears did, where they were outgained by 308 yards. It was 310-2 in total yardage at halftime of that game. And now it's just more praise coming in for Drake May. And he was asked in a Patriots.com interview, hey, this comes with a lot of pressure. Mac Jones had to replace Tom Brady, essentially. I mean, really Cam Newton, but essentially Tom Brady. And it didn't work out. And they're searching for the next Tom Brady. They're searching for the next dynasty, or at least the next Super Bowl contender of what we're looking for in New England. And they asked Drake May about that pressure. Here's what the Patriots quarterback had to say.
I wouldn't call it, pressure. I think it's a privilege. I think it's a privilege. I think you work your whole life to get to this moment. And I think once this moment comes, I don't think you should lose sight of the fact that this is what you dreamed about and dreamed about playing in the NFL. And I think having that pressure, I think you turn into a privilege and hopefully get this thing rolling.
Yes, baby. Yes. Patriots porn. We haven't had that in a long time around here. That's what I'm talking about. Every Patriots douchebag, of which I am very much a part of that group in New England, is pounding their chest hearing that. Hell yeah. He doesn't think it's pressure, probably because, and I mean this in the most endearing way possible, there's not much going on in that head outside of football, which is perfect. It's just like Gronk for years. The public persona was and still is that Gronk is this, big dummy egghead. I think at Family Guy, they said that his dad just blammed on a piece of raw meat, and that became Gronk. And there's a lot to back that up. But all you heard from the coaches and his teammates was the guy absorbed one of the toughest playbooks in the NFL like a sponge. Just lived and breathed football, knew everything football, and was a leader and was a professional and knew that playbook and everyone's assignment like the back of his hand. And he was the best tight end ever to play football. Drake May is showing those same characteristics. Is he going to be the best quarterback ever? I don't know, but probably so. If you had to ask me today, is Drake May going to be the best quarterback ever? He's at least going to be in the top 3, is what I'm saying. But the mentality is exactly what we need to hear about, because all the other reports coming out on this, the last couple of weeks are the team's losing and the guys are laughing and joking in the locker room. Now, these guys are professionals, right? They're in their late 20s and early 30s. They do this for a living. I think they're going out there and trying to win. But by that same token, that's just not something that would happen in Belichick's locker room. The reporters would not be saying like, did they lose the game? Doesn't feel like, it shouldn't be a funeral after every loss in the NFL because it's a long season. But I don't love hearing those reports. And what Drake May just put out there and the way he's handled this all season makes it sound like this guy wants to win and gets what the culture is supposed to be, and probably not what the culture is right now. If you needed any more reason to build your entire franchise around this kid, I don't know what else you need to see. He can't win games by himself, although he's come pretty friggin' close, okay? As close as you can in this league with having just no talent around you. And on the flip side is Caleb Williams, a guy who comes in as the number 1 pick, generational quarterback. We hear that every 2 or 3 years. A guy you would tank 2 seasons for, which is what, teams were probably thinking about doing. And if Carolina tried to, they failed because it was the Bears pick that they gave up to them. And it's not going well in Chicago. Obviously, the blowout loss to San Francisco the other day, they've only won 1 more game than the Patriots have, and they lost head-to-head to Drake May in a game that Caleb Williams didn't even throw a touchdown. And now there's videos on the sidelines of him just like he's about to cry, like he did every game at USC. The guy is like losing it. And do I feel for him a little bit like I do for Gerard Mayo? Yes. But Gerard Mayo has arguably the worst roster in the league. The Bears do not, which means the quarterback is part of the problem. And it's enough that their coach got fired because he let the friggin' game clock run out with 30 seconds left and trying to tie or win the game. It's a mess down there. So at least the Patriots feel like they're on a better path because they feel like they have the quarterback, no doubt, that is going to lead them into the future. The Bears, at least there's questions there. At least there's questions. I have plenty of questions for my friend and colleague, Pete Souza, about Bill Belichick. That's coming up next on The Cam Show.
Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at BestBuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
Well. If it isn't the third segment of the Cam Show, featuring Cam Stewart as Cam, we're going to get Pete Souza in here. We're going to talk some ball. Oh, Pete, you're looking great today.
Mike says I'm so pixelated.
Yeah, you are.
Mike, I am. Why am I so washed out?
We don't want the people
We'll
to
figure
see
it. We'll figure it out in time for the big show.
Oh.
Let me put this
Sorry,
on so
what?
I can hear you better, Cam. Okay, there you go.
Pete.
Hey, Cam.
Other than insulting my show, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. So I good night's sleep last night.
It's great. Scoops Pete, by the way. Scoops Souza.
Dude.
Pete Scoopsa.
I'm seriously like, what's going on? How come I'm picking up on all this stuff and nobody else is?
You are literally inside the 12.
Well, just from news broke today. And by the way, now, the only frustrating part about this stuff is I got to go digging in the crate for my show to find out when I exactly said this, because I did say it. Anthony Becht interviewed with West Virginia today, and I said the day after Neil Brown got fired that he was a dark horse candidate.
There you go. You're going to find it right there. It's the day after Neil Brown got fired.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, yeah.
Edie takes. He's got too many takes.
Just like I did about Baylor winning out. I got to find that.
Yeah, no one's found that. That's crazy.
Arizona State. What do you mean nobody's found that?
Nobody's brought the audio of that. So
Mosley, because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not an I told you so kind of guy.
Sure.
Although I'm doing it right now. Mosley brought it up though the last time he was on that I told him they were going to win out. And then Arizona State. People were making fun of me on that Inside the 12 show in late October because I was talking about how they were going to win the Big 12 title. So here we are, and I got nothing to show for any of it.
Let's talk some college football, but link it back to the show here because there's breaking news as we read this on Tuesday afternoon on the East Coast. Ollie Conley, noted NFL reporter and someone I've had exchanges with, no big deal.
I'm excited about this.
Bill Belichick has agreed to become the next UNC coach. It goes on here, but I want to get your initial reaction to that. If that is true, that Bill Belichick is ready to coach the Tar Heels.
I think it's a loss for a lot of great NFL organizations.
Me too, honestly.
That's that a move. And I think ultimately, I think we all sort of lose. And here's why. I'm not in any way affiliated with North Carolina. And
thank God.
No, I mean, whatever. I pull for him, but the NFL is a much bigger platform, and it's much more enjoyable to have Bill Belichick in our life on the NFL platform. I feel like he'll get lost in college football.
And it's also like the Belichick thing at this point.
I'm being selfish, by the way.
Is like we want to see him break the wins record, which the college wins don't count. It doesn't count towards that. So to me, it's like, well, from a fan perspective, again, selfishly, it's like, well, what's the point? I don't care about him coaching in the ACC.
And
I guess it's good to see him on the sideline again. And I'm a huge college football fan, so I want to see if it'll work. But I'd rather see him on the NFL record, man. He's like 72. This is going to be the shot.
I know one thing in my life, at least I can say this since I've been sober, that every wild decision I have made, there's been a female close behind.
I said on the show yesterday, his best recruiter for college football could be Jordan Hudson, his 4-year-old girlfriend.
Well, I mean, did she what is
and
her?
Apparently she is the business arm of Bill Belichick now. I know you've heard that. Like anything he's going through, it's going through her.
Are you being serious?
Yes, I'm being so serious. All the NFL film stuff and whatever show he's going on, it's going through her.
Well, I mean, maybe she's managing that for like an assistant. Okay, that's different, Cam, than that being like the last person he runs big decisions through.
It's either her or Matt Patricia. They just usher him around from place to place.
Joe, this is a mind-blowing revelation that you have just made here to me. And my initial reaction, I stand by that. I'm disappointed because I like how he's in our lives now. I really don't mind it. Like, you turn around every corner, you see him, whether it's on McAfee or with the Manning Bros. And now he's going to be harder to find. And I really do believe.
The CW, noon Eastern. You can find him, baby. UNC versus NC Central, Labor Day Saturday.
Well, you will lose him on the CW on Inside the NFL. So there you go. You lose him in one aspect, you get him in another.
North Carolina, Virginia Tech. Bill Belichick, the greatest coach in the history of the sport.
I did say this, and I think he could have great success. I think that when you look at the transfer portal, NIL, I think he knows that beast that he's getting involved in. 2, I also believe like recruiting will be
wait. Does he know the beast? Because I thought this initially too, but in the NFL, at least you were dealing in contracts, and now you're not.
Yeah,
that everyone's on a 1-year contract. That's a different aspect of this.
Well, and then that leads me to saying, just to kind of assist my point here, that there's so much we don't know about this. Like, I'm sure that's stuff that he's inquired about. I'm sure that stuff, like, with the stuff coming down legally, like, will schools be paying these guys in a year, in 6 months? And I think we will be moving. I think we're going to get better here. Like, I think this is as bad as it's going to get, jailbreak style with players and how they're getting paid. But I wanted to say compensated, but I couldn't think of it quick enough.
Dang. I'm always talking about compensation, let me tell you.
But
shout out to Small Rig from the Rogue Media Network.
But I do believe that he will be able to recruit. I think that parents, whether it's a single parent home or a double parent home, I think that they'll be connected with Bill Belichick and his success. A lot of times they have a lot to do with the decision making. My mom just told me I was going to Richmond because she loved Coach Reed and because she loved the campus. Like, really? I mean, there's something to be said for that. If you get an opportunity to play for Bill Belichick, your parents are probably going to push you to go play. Number 2, we got to remember, like, these guys don't do a lot of the recruiting. It's a lot of who they surround themselves with. That's why Brian Kelly still gets players, because I don't know who would want to play for him.
Dude, I said this on Locked On. This is a real quick before I get to my next point. I was like, does anybody like Brian Kelly? Like, I don't even know that LSU fans like Brian Kelly, and that's a great fan base, right?
Yeah.
But like, they're just like, he wins games. I don't know. I knew plenty of Notre Dame fans growing up. I don't think they liked Brian Kelly.
They're not going to like him,
and he's an ass. Like in like almost the worst kind of way. Like most coaches can be asses, right?
Yeah.
But like, he sucks. And
that's one guy. You know who else is
Everett
up there?
Mass and pretending to be like from the Bayou. I couldn't get over that.
Another guy who stinks of that to me is James Franklin. Like, I'm just like,
that's not a bad point. Yeah,
you get douche vibes, dude. Like from both of them.
And meanwhile, Ryan Day actually seems like a nice enough guy.
Yeah, totally.
He doesn't win the big games, so it's tough.
All right, back to this.
Back to this report, because the way I kind of saw this from the beginning in talking about the new landscape of college football is it actually might play right into Belichick's hands, because the problem that I think he faced last year in NFL head coaching vacancies, and the problem that he will face this year, specifically with the Cowboys when it comes to head coaching vacancies, is he needs total control. And now there's been reports the last week or so that he doesn't need full control, but we know Belichick's past with that. I think he's coming into a job knowing exactly how much control he's going to have, and it's going to be a lot. And now, there's room for that in college football. There always was, but now there is that transfer portal kind of free agency kind of thing. So Ollie Conley goes on in this report saying that Belichick handed the school a 400-page organizational Bible with structure, payment plans, staffing choices, etc. And the decision on whether to commit to UNC, he is expected to know their decision within 24 hours. So he has turned it on them. He says, hey, I'll come coach you, but here it all is. Read it and see if this is what you want to get into here.
So have they agreed?
So the report is that Belichick has said, yes, I will take this job, but here's the organizational Bible. Here's how it needs to work.
Has he been offered the job?
There's nothing that says in this report that he has been offered the job.
Cameron. So the way that
that's a pretty big development right there.
Okay, Cam. The impression
they've interviewed him twice, Pete. He's the best coach in the history of football.
And one thing I'll say, like, people are like, oh, he was talking to the chancellor. Well, like, to me, that's like the last dot of the I. Like when you're talking, it's like, it's like in our jobs or anybody, when you meet the GM, it's kind of like, okay, we want you to work here a lot of times.
And there is part of the report too that says there's already been pushback from a group of 13 trustees. So that could probably explain why he hasn't been formally offered the job. But to your point, again, 2 interviews and the chancellor, they want this guy. And now he's put out like, hey, here's what it's gonna take.
I hope he doesn't get the job.
And by the way, this is not
And I
dissimilar
hope he ends up in the NFL. That's why I hope he gets the
to
job.
what Kirby Smart did at, I think it was South Carolina, when he was first up for an SEC coaching job, and they said, we're not going to have the resources to do this, because he wanted to run a program like Saban did. And so when he did it at Georgia, when he said, hey, this is what it's going to take, they were like, okay, sure, let's do it. And I think that's a smart move by Belichick. He's obviously not a very dumb guy, that he's saying, if I'm going to come here, this is how it's going to work, and here's how we're going to win. But you want him in the NFL. I want him in the NFL.
Oh, dude.
I also don't want him roaming the sidelines in North Carolina. That's a personal thing. That is a personal vendetta. Yes, I don't want that. Although I could absolutely rock up to Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill with my cutoff Patriots hoodie. I would do that. I would sacrifice that for having to go to that place. But yeah, I want to see him in the NFL, and I think he's going to have options in the NFL this year. Don't you?
Yes, I think, unless, again, like, is there something we don't know? Like, has he heard from front office people who are affiliated with these owners that, like, people aren't going to go for what he wants to do? Like, are these owners too egotistical that they can't? Now, I know, like, in Philly, Jeffrey Lurie's not like that. Like if Sirianni had totally, and you can't tell me the Giants aren't thinking about.
That's the one I think about. Now here's what my problem with the Giants, though. If I'm an NFL owner, the only way I'm not going for Belichick is when I need to develop a rookie quarterback. Hear me out. Obviously, there's like if he has Josh McDaniels there, then that's a different story. Like you saw what he made Mac Jones his rookie year, and then all of a sudden McDaniels is out of the picture and he spits the bit, and he's not an NFL quarterback. So if you can bring McDaniels with him, that's a different story. But if I'm just saying, hey, I'm bringing in Belichick sight unseen, the rest of his staff, and we know how that goes. He might have Matt Patricia calling the plays as a DC. I don't love that.
Michael Lombardi will be the director of football operations.
Yeah, a guy who's been like writing books for 10 years. You do kind of know who's coming with him.
Your favorite ink, yeah.
And he's not going to lure away Jed Fish, unfortunately, who I think is a real good coach. But they asked Schefter about this on one of the shows this morning that was like, hey, let's just say he says yes to UNC, and then a month from now, someone from the NFL is coming calling, is he going to, what's he going to do? And Schefter said, oh, I don't know. I don't think Belichick would ever do something like that. But it's like, you got to factor that in.
Oh,
of course, the guy wants to coach in the NFL. And so outside of a few teams that are going to be drafting and developing a quarterback this year, like the Giants, like the Raiders, X, Y, and Z, name your pick of the other ones. But any other situation in terms of a team that feels good about their roster, or a team with cap space, or a team that just needs a little bit more to get over the top, I'm liking Belichick for that. That's why I like him in the Cowboys sense if you take out Jerry. Yeah. Is that team Super Bowl window closed? I think so, yes. But they've still got plenty of talent. And as much as we love to shit on Dak, he's a good pro quarterback. So I would take Belichick in a situation like Dallas, personally. One of us is still going, so I'm going to keep going. I would love to see him coach the NFL because I would like to see him set the all-time wins record. But this UNC thing looks kind of legit.
There he
kind of legit.
Cam, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I know. You got me. We were talking about Dak and the Cowboys.
We didn't get to Dak. No, seriously, you were talking about Jerry.
If I take Jerry out of the situation, if I take Jerry Jones out of Dallas, which most Cowboys fans would want, I think that would be a perfect spot for Bill.
But Cam, and I'm usually I like to do the hypotheticals as well. You're not taking him.
I know.
So he's not
that was
go
just
to
an
Dallas.
example.
So cross it off. Cross that off. So like I would think the Giants would be a perfect destination. I think the Mara family has got to be like, we need like that. That is the perfect marriage right now. However, if Bill Belichick is
Belichick with Shedeur Sanders,
look, Bill Belichick with whoever the hell's going to be the next quarterback in North Carolina, dude.
I know. In college is different. College is different.
But look, like that brings me to my point. Like either he's come up with a major life decision, or he's gotten some real interesting information that tells him that this would be the best move for him.
Do you think there is a money aspect to this?
I don't know.
North Carolina is not one of the big dogs, like the real big dogs in terms of NIL and everything. So he's working on a budget, and he's not going to be the highest paid coach in college football. But there's obviously some pretty good money there too.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so, sure.
But he's also made a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean,
he made a lot of money over the years.
He doesn't strike me as somebody
I don't think he's pissed it all away. He just coaches those kinds of guys.
He doesn't strike me as a guy who is all about the money, right? Like yesterday,
I wouldn't think so.
We saw the Soto deal, and it was like, okay, well, Scott Boras is linked to this, and Scott Boras will take nothing but the absolute most money his client can get. It's almost not up
even though there was more take-home money with the Red Sox with their taxes, but hey.
But you know what I
didn't look into that.
Well, it doesn't make sense for him when
it doesn't make sense for Scott. No, it doesn't.
No. So you see the overall number. So I don't think Belichick's going to get wrapped up in that type of situation. I'm a little upset that you kind of rope-a-dope me into thinking that this was happening, because it's not happening yet.
This is as good as a report as we've gotten, Pete. This at least, if nothing else, shows that he wants the job, which yesterday he was poo-pooing.
I thought yesterday that it showed to me that they were on the doorstep of something happening when he started talking about me. When you hear,
I think he'll be offered the job before the end of today.
You do well, and supposedly, right? Like the portal opened yesterday.
Yes.
So
they got to move.
Yeah, they do have to move. I don't like this move for anybody involved personally. I mean, I guess I like it for North Carolina and the kids that get to go there and be in Bill Belichick's orbit and learn.
I think it's a real interesting experiment for Carolina that I think could work. I think it could work.
I guess North Carolina doesn't lose. I think Bill Belichick loses. I think the fans lose. I know that I lose. I know that I know that Bill Belichick will be an afterthought by week 6. And that's
so bizarre, man, because again, as much as I love shitting on Carolina, this is going to be true to me. Like they're not going to be a hyper relevant team.
No,
they're not going. They're just not.
By the way, I got some good Carolina Duke stuff. So Scott Williams, I worked the broadcast with this week, and so Scott and I were talking about Duke and Carolina, and I've gotten to know Scott a little bit, and I was like, "Yo, is there really like a thing? Like, do you not like talk to Duke guys that played in the NBA, like guys that you know?" And he was like, he said, for me, about 4 or 5 years ago. Now, this is a guy in his 50s. He said about 4 or 5 years ago, I thought it's time to like bury all this stuff. Like what am I doing here? But yeah,
so for 20 years he held on it. I'm telling you, Duke and Carolina and probably Michigan, Ohio State are the closest that we have to those things still being true.
I mean, he's like literally like, I did not, because I saw him talking to Jay Billis one time, and I was like, hey, like, are you like friendly with him, or have you been friendly with him? And he's like, no, but like, he's like, I'm at a point in my life where like, if I can talk to Jay Billis and it's going to benefit me, what am I doing? You know?
It is the best. I have it as the best rivalry in sports. Michigan, Ohio State's great. Red Sox, Yankees, when it's on, it's great, but it's not on very much anymore. That's the best, because that's like the ultimate, like what they think is like Greasers versus Socias.
Yeah.
And it's
and then there's one more.
It's so even, man. It's so good.
There's Cam Stewart and the Baylor Sports Information Department.
That's a good rivalry, man.
That is a good rivalry.
You want to talk about Greasers versus Socias right there. Just the hard luck kid making a studio wherever he can, just trying to get the info.
You sound great. You look great. I'm into this. We need to spruce up your background a little bit.
I know. I got to work on it. See, the old lady, we don't have much space, and the old lady does not like me having my stuff up.
He's got to go to lunch or something. He's like doing this.
So do I, dude. Yeah. So do I.
All right.
Pete Souza, 1 o'clock, Pete Souza Show, live on YouTube. You can catch me here every day, high noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central time, and then catch Pete at 1 p.m. Central time every day live on YouTube.
Pete Souza YouTube to find out the latest short is the best wag ever.
That's a good tease right there. Who's the best wag of all time? Pete's going to tell you later, and I will react to it tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Ring that notification bell to get notified every time we are going live and all the bonus content that comes with the Cam Show. We will see you tomorrow.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.